This is Shawn Smith's book report on The Americans by Robert Frank. The intro by Jack Kerouac. First of all, the intro that was wrote by Jack. Jack was what they called a beat writer. He was part of the beat generation in the 50s. He had wrote a book called On the Road. The Beat Generation was a literary movement started by a group of authors whose work explored and influenced American culture and politics in the post-war era of the 50s. Jack's writing was very interesting and poetic in his intro about Frank's photography and his travels throughout the U.S. and his candid shots of America. Although I believe this book to be very shocking and controversial of the time of the 50s, I think that this did historically show you a view of America as it was then. Some of the images were disturbing today. To me, this book had a overall picture of what America looked like in the 50s. And comparative to today, some of these images weren't so as shocking, but definitely telling of the times that these photos were taken. I'm really glad that I bought this book because it feels nice in your hands, as well as the reprint is of a really nice size. I don't think this book's meaning would change if you rearranged the photos of this, because the intention of the author was to show all 50 states and their images at the time. My personal reaction to this book, being born in the 60s and seeing some of the racial and segregation of the South and throughout America, with my travels being a military brat, this is definitely a true depiction of what it was like in the 50s. I know this book wasn't focused on racism and segregation, but you can definitely clearly see it in this book. Robert Frank was a Swiss immigrant that came to the United States. As an artist, he is best known for probably his movie making, but his biggest achievement was this book. Robert Frank also worked as a photojournalist most of his life. He worked for Fortune, Life, Look, McCall's, Vogue. In Robert Frank's making of this book, as he drove 10,000 miles, he took 27,000 pictures, and he narrowed those pictures down to 83 for this book. A 3-minute verbal report doesn't do this book justice.